The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good Thursday morning, everyone. And as always, welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. I got Pedro and Miss Carol with me today. So good morning, y'all.
Good morning. Morning, everyone.
Good morning, guys.
So we got one interest group tonight, and that would be Let's Talk Spanish with Mr. Jesus Bautista. And that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. this evening. Again, it's just something you can come in there and learn a little conversational Spanish and, be able to communicate with your neighbors and stuff like that. There's nowhere we can go in today's world where we don't run into somebody that, speaks Spanish and might not speak a whole lot of English. So it's always good to be able to, communicate with them, especially since a lot of these folks work in the service industry. And who knows, you might be trying to go and order a burger and you want to make sure you get your burger right. Make sure they understand how you want your burger, whatever the case may be. But it's a pretty good class. So anyway, come in, check that out tonight at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So anyway, we're jumping into, our first article is our continuing saga here in L.A. Wow. We got an update on what's going on with the riots. So let me just go ahead and run this. Not riots, I'm sorry. Let me get away from their narrative. And bottom line is an update on the protests in LA. So anyway, let's run this and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab your first cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this first article. Good morning and welcome back to our continuing coverage of the situation in Los Angeles. The legal battle over the deployment of federal troops has taken a significant turn as a federal judge has stepped into the escalating conflict between the state of California and the White House Point One late last night. A U.S. district judge issued a temporary restraining order in response to the lawsuit filed by Governor Gavin Newsom. This order, which is a major development, blocks the federal government from sending any additional military forces, including National Guard or Marines, into Los Angeles for the time being. However, the ruling stopped short of ordering the withdrawal of the troops who are already on the ground, with the judge citing concerns about creating a power vacuum and a potentially chaotic situation. This court order is being seen as a partial but important victory for the state of California. It effectively freezes the military footprint at its current level and provides a much-needed cooling-off period. In a statement, Governor Newsom's office called the ruling a crucial first step in defending our state's sovereignty and upholding the Constitution. The judge has set an emergency hearing for early next week to hear more detailed arguments from both sides before deciding on a more permanent injunction. On the streets of Los Angeles, the news of the court order seems to have had a calming effect. While protesters remain gathered near federal buildings, reports indicate the number of demonstrators decreased overnight, and there were no major incidents of violence or clashes with law enforcement or the military. The National Guard and U.S. Marines continue to maintain their defensive positions, but the tension, for now, has slightly eased. So, while the immediate crisis of an escalating military presence has been paused, the core legal and political conflict is far from over. The situation remains a delicate standoff, with the next chapter set to unfold not on the streets, but in a federal courtroom, highlighting the role of the judicial system in these intense disputes. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, the judge has stepped in and stopped him from sending any more troops up in there. I mean, come on, we got right now between 4 and 5,000 National Guard and, Marines there, right? And the crazy part is the temporary no gathering or whatever they call it zone is only a 1 mile square. Okay, I mean when you look at national news and what people are saying and all this other kind of stuff, it's not true to what's going on the ground. You know, I mean the curfew zone. My understanding is just around downtown LA. As an example, last night, I mean, people know the curfew is there from 8 a.m. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., right? So what did it do? The protesters, they moved out of downtown LA and now they're just, walking the streets protesting in other parts of the city, you know. So again, all this stuff you see on the news, all this, oh, well, I had to go in, I had to prevent this from happening, I'm stopping murders and all this other. Ain't nobody got killed. Okay, ain't none of that happened. It was no need in there. He lied about talking about that the police were asking for the help of the National Guard. No, the police didn't ask for that. It actually was the ICE that was asking for help. So I mean, I'm glad right now that this judge has stepped in. And bottom line, the National Guard and the Marines are basically, the National Guard is there to protect the federal buildings. That's it. They're not to get involved with any of the protests, and neither are the Marines. So anyway, don't bite on the hype that the narrative they're trying to spread. They want to make this out to be a riot, and it's not. Of course, there are some bad actors, and yeah, those bad actors should be arrested. If they're going to start looting stores and stuff, man, they need to be locked up. You know what I'm saying? Simply because that's not part of a peaceful protest. So, and all that does is just make it look bad. All that does is feed into Trump's narrative about all of the criminality stuff going on in the city, and it ain't going down that way. So, anyway, that's what I got, Carol.
I hear you. I mean, I'm happy to hear that they're pulling back a little bit, at least to the federal buildings and things of that sort, because people do have the right to protest. And, of course, it's going to always be some, misdirection and deception in anything that you see or hear on TV. They're going to always say one thing, but it may not actually be the real thing as what you all are saying. And they always kind of hype it up to be worse than it really is. So if individuals still have that right to be able to walk, they're following, the curfew of not being actually in downtown area during the hours that they're setting up, and that they're still able to peacefully protest. That's the whole reasoning for all of it, to be able to at least let people know that they do not agree with the shenanigans that are going on, and to support the average day hardworking individuals that are not criminals, that are not rapists, that are not individuals that are over here trying to rob or cause harm, but just hardworking citizens trying to provide for their family. So, I'm just hoping that it will get a little better, and hands off will occur soon.
Well, I hope so. I mean, another thing it doesn't realize, and I don't know if they're telling you this out there on your end, Carol, but like, we got a wildfire out here by my house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. National Guard helped with the traffic for that, and they support the fire, right?
Right.
Fire crews. 300 and some odd National Guards have just been pulled off of the border. they're down there what? Catching folks coming in. They're down there catching fentanyl coming in, so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. Damn, you done pulled them off so you can create this narrative of what you want to say is going on in LA. So that's
Right. It's so
crazy.
bad that I had to pull these individuals off of what they were doing in
Yeah.
order to control what's really not happening.
So, but anyway, so I mean, it's crazy. What you think about all of it, Pedro?
Yeah, it is crazy, and it's I'm glad like Carol pointed out that yeah uh the the courts has blocked, the judge has blocked more from federal agents or from army or anything coming in. I do understand pulling those troops out and all that can create a vacuum, and I understand that part. But you know, you see the narrative of the right, how they call them the LA riots and all that, and showing certain scenes and not reporting even in some of the news that I see. They don't report. There's been pictures and things like that and other reports of they like license plate number of people looting, and they're out of state license plate numbers. um there's been pictures of ICE agents, and like sometimes you can see their like tattoos. One had a swastika on him.
Oh,
So, they might have like what is the whole cover of the face? You know, if they're agents and they're from the government, they need to be, able to be seen their face, because then
true.
something can happen and they can get away with it. It's kind of messed
Mm-hmm.
up. Like, something can happen to a citizen. And number two, what I seen, they got people scared and terrified. They're going to different stores, liquor stores, and places. I was in Braille, and a lot of people did not show up. A lot of Hispanics did not show up. They had sent out a do not show up if you believe that you might be in danger or whatever it is, and people did not show up. So they're creating this fear amongst people that just want to go learn even Braille. Imagine other people that are in wheelchairs, other disabilities and stuff like that within our community, that we're in the disabled community. Now you got these people in fear, probably fear to go get something to eat, you
Well, I
know?
mean, that's part of
Mm-hmm.
his thing. That's what he wants to do is, inflict pain, pain and fear on the people. And, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny enough, but I remember, what was it, early in the year, or maybe it was towards the end of last year. I can't remember, but I remember we were talking, and, we were talking, with the folks out there in Anaheim and all that stuff that, and we had made comment, well, oh no, they're not coming after me because they only going after the bad folks. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
tried to tell them back then. Okay,
Right. Right.
Look,
I mean, the
you know,
same thing
question
here.
number one.
I mean, when they were splitting families apart, taking children away from parents and or vice versa, just because of this or that, and look at it exploding now to something more sinister.
well, I mean, and what we were trying to tell them, look, no, Trump is going after everybody. He's
Yes.
saying he's only going after criminals and so on and so forth. But
Mm-hmm.
again, as I've said, and I admit, technically, you are a criminal if you came here illegally.
Right.
And that gives him the right to come after you. But to think that, well, he's not going to bother me because I'm not in the streets committing crime. No, you already committed the crime that gave him the right to come after you.
Right.
And now that ICE is running through Orange County, oh my
That's why
goodness.
he didn't say that in that campaign. He didn't say none of that in that campaign because he wanted to say it after.
Of
Yeah,
course, he needed
yeah.
those votes.
Well, and also, Carol, I mean, I know you're not out here. Orange County is one of our only Republican counties.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, gotcha.
okay, so I mean, I believe it's Orange County, and then I believe Riverside County, and that includes part of Palm Springs and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're very limited out here as far as numbers wise. But and again, they think they live on an island, and bad folks don't have a boat or know how to sail to get on that island.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Like
they
they
have
can't
that
get to me.
mentality.
Hmm.
And there are so many immigrants in Orange County now.
Right.
I
Hell,
mean,
they probably working for a majority of
they
them.
are, they are,
Yeah, but
they certainly are.
yeah.
But again, now that ICE is coming through and getting them, oh no,
Mm,
they want to sit up in the house. Now you scared.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
you scared.
Uh-huh.
Well, you should have been scared from day one. You should have been scared before you stepped in that ballot box.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true. And and then he likes to talk down about immigrants, especially Latino immigrants and the Latino people in general. That includes even the black community, what he did in the 80s, you know.
Well,
He
we're
likes,
all immigrants, Pedro.
yeah, I did a post on that. I said everyone that is not native to this land is a
Hmm.
immigrant.
That's right.
We're a nation of immigrants.
Exactly.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, even I hate to go here, but even white folks, Caucasians, Caucasoids, whatever you want to call them, they are not native to this continent.
Nope.
Nope.
They all came over here. You know what I'm saying? And then what we do,
Hmm.
we started messing with the native people, the Native American Indians. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Started this, well, not we, but they started destroying culture. There's a lot of history that has been
And they
destroyed.
still trying to destroy culture. I mean, look at what they doing right now. Who doesn't know that the librarian of the Library of Congress is not over all the libraries in the country?
Right.
Okay, I mean, come on now. You going and firing her because you want to say that she's giving these libraries permission to put these certain books in their library. No, it's up to the librarians as
That's
to what
right.
books they put in their library. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
And
But it
then,
has everything to do with the fact that you do not want these books in our public libraries. You do not want these books in our public schools. Why? Because you want to hide the truth about what
Hmm.
your race has done
That's right.
within this country from the very first day they stepped foot on the shores.
Well, he wants his story out. He don't want history told.
You don't know. He
mhm.
definitely
You
don't want
get
history to be told.
it.
I mean, they don't want to talk about how, you know, California, parts of Nevada, Arizona, all of that used to belong to Mexico.
Hmm.
Okay, they don't want to talk about all that. They don't want to talk about how they ran the Mexicans back down south of what we
Texas,
call
one
our
of the.
border, south of the Rio Grande, right? They don't want to talk about none of that. They don't want to talk about how the slaves actually built the country. It wasn't just black slaves. Again,
Right.
there was other slaves that came in. There were people that came in voluntarily, what they call a indebted servitude,
Hmm.
where where these people would apply and they would get passage over to the United States, and then they would have to work for these people for X number of years. Okay, before they now what's different from that than folks that's smuggling people into the country right now and then making them work in sweatshops?
Nothing.
What's different than that? I mean, it's the same thing that the American people did when I'm sorry, you know, when they first landed on this country. That's what they were doing it back then, and they would do it right now if we'd allow them to do it. Now they
Right.
mad because somebody else is doing it, and they not getting a cut of the action. That's what's wrong. So, but anyway, no, folks, it's not a riot. It's a protest. 98% of the protesting is peaceful, of course. In every protest, you're going to have those bad actors. And that's what the police and the sheriffs are supposed to be there to do, to catch those people when they step out of line and cross the line from peaceful protest to, committing felonies, breaking into stores or,
Um,
I mean, I'm sorry for Waymo. They done lost a few cars in this thing, but,
Mm.
mhm.
know, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
you
and the
didn't want to.
number The number of Latinos in Los Angeles is 47%, they say.
Oh
That's
wow.
almost half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Think about doing all that. You just cussing a big old ruckus. You trying to poke the bear.
Right.
I
You
mean, it's
know.
crazy. It's crazy. So, I mean, again, he's just trying to bestow fear on everybody. He's trying to sit up in Washington and act like he's this big old strong guy, but he's a little punk. That's how I'm gonna say.
Right.
Anyway, so anyway, let's move in. We'll get some promos and jump into our next article.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Hustling jingles, $10 a shots. Birthday beats and holiday knocks. Gotcha covered for the ones you love. Personalized joy like a custom glove. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford. Got a catchy tune for your babe. Poppin' beats like dreams we crave. For Mama's Day or Papa's cheer, let's make smiles from ear to ear. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford.
All right. Well, right quick, Tisha said, "Good morning, y'all." Hey. She said that in the comments, so I'm just reading what she wrote. But anyway, good morning, Tisha. But anyway, so they say their slogan is what? Make America Great Again. This next one is crazy. Pete Hegseth, I guess that's his name. I don't know if I'm saying it right or whatever, but check this part out. This is some crazy stuff what he's doing right now.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab your next cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into the second article. In a move that is sending shockwaves through military and civilian communities alike, the Department of Defense is undergoing a significant and controversial series of name changes. This new policy, championed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, aims to reverse years of diversity and inclusion initiatives, starting with the names of Army bases and naval ships. The U.S. Army announced on Tuesday that it plans to restore the original names of 7 bases that had previously been renamed. These bases, including major installations like Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, and Fort Gordon, once honored Confederate leaders from the Civil War. After a congressional mandate a few years ago led to their renaming, this new decision completely reverses that, and these bases will once again bear the names of Confederate generals. The policy extends beyond the Army. Just last week, Secretary Hegseth ordered the Secretary of the Navy to rename the oiler ship USNS Harvey Milk. The ship was named in honor of the groundbreaking gay rights activist and Navy veteran who was assassinated in 1978. This action is being seen by many as a direct signal of the administration's new cultural priorities for the armed forces. According to the Pentagon, these actions are part of Secretary Hegseth's broader goal of eliminating what he calls divisive, diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DI, content from the Department of Defense. Supporters of the move argue that it returns the military to a singular focus on warfighting and away from social politics. They contend that the original names of the bases are part of a long military tradition that should have been left alone. Critics, however, are forcefully condemning the decisions as a major step backward. They argue that renaming a ship honoring a celebrated veteran and gay rights icon like Harvey Milk is an insult to LGBTQ plus service members. Furthermore, they state that restoring the names of Confederate leaders who fought against the United States on U.S. Army bases dishonors the diverse soldiers who serve there today. This policy has ignited a fierce debate about history, honor, and what values the U.S. military should represent in the 21st century. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So my first question is this: if it took an act of Congress to get the names changed away from those uh, uh, Confederate soldiers, being named after them, how can he just issue an order and make it happen? That don't make sense to me. Number one, that's number one. Number two, when we name something after someone, we do that as an honor to that person for the service that they have, provided to our country. It could be many different reasons why we did it, but mostly it's to honor them for what they contributed to our country, right? Why in the hell are we honoring some Confederate soldiers that would just as well have people still held in bondage? I mean, there's still a large number of people, descendants of those people in society today that would rather have it go back to that, you know. So again, I guess this is just part of their thing to so-called make America great again. So I guess America was great when we had, military bases named after Confederate soldiers. America was great when we had statues of these Confederate soldiers in our parks and all this, around our learning institutions and all this other kind of stuff. No, it's not. It's not. So I, I'm disgusted with this. I really, really am. I'm totally disgusted with this. I mean, I'm not, even though I don't like the idea of, doing away with the DEI stuff within the military, it, it I can live with that more than I can live with this. You know what I'm saying? Honoring, these Confederate soldiers, it just makes no sense to me at all. And then you're gonna change the name of this ship just because that man was gay? Come on, man. That don't make any sense at all. So anyway, that's my feelings on it.
I agree with you, Ed. I mean, all of this stuff as far as the Confederates and things of that sort, now all of that is in black and white, it's in books, so it's still part of history. So changing the names of these things, removing these statues, well, they're really not removing them, they're placing them in museums down here, and all of this to give honor to something that was terrible, is just, it's sickening. But it is part of history. But again, you can go to, well, I don't know now, based on the story or what you were saying before about the libraries. I'm sure those types of books are still there, where you can read up on all of what occurred. But the naming of different places should honor individuals that have done something good. And that is nothing good to me about what these individuals have done. And, I mean, that's a slap in the face to me, representing the LG, BTQ uh, community, to change the name of a ship. Really, what harm has that done? But I don't know. I better let it go. Pedro, what you
Well, number one, that service member, put their life on the line, went out there and did his duty, something that that secretary wouldn't do,
Mhm.
something that Donald Trump dodged. We know he's a draft dodger. You know what
Captain
I'm saying?
Bonespur.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
know that. So for him to do that, so and to put it like how he has said it before. Uh, um, why do we have the statues of losers that lost the war up? He said he
Hmm.
doesn't like losers, right?
I
Right.
Take
don't
all those
like losers.
statues down.
That's
That's what
one
he
of his
said.
big things. He don't like losers.
So take all
Mm-hmm.
those things down, put them in museums. If you say you don't like losers, then do that. But he doesn't because you know what he's trying to do. What is the whole thing of that administration? You know, they want to wash down history. They want to wash it down, and you know what I mean. And
Well,
Oh
again,
yeah.
this just my same thing. I'm not against removing the statues. I mean, yeah, move them to, like you say, museums and stuff like that. Yes, they are a part of our history. So
of
therefore, I'm not
course,
saying destroy
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
But Kel, think about it. Look at your history down there in Texas.
Yes.
Black folks in Texas got freed 2 years after the proclamation of emancipation.
You're absolutely right.
You
You
know what
know,
I'm saying? Because the
Juneteenth. You
slave
know,
owners in Texas, they weren't willing to give in.
no.
They held on to their slaves for an extra 2 years.
Yes, they did.
Okay, and there's still, again, like I said, there's still a lot of descendants of those people in the country right now. They would actually prefer that it went back to that.
and
Hey, we still
there's
waiting on our 40 acres and a mule.
yeah, and the
Period.
slave masters got some 40 acres. Also,
Right.
there were, what was it, last year or beginning of this year? There was a story, and it seems like they want to go back to that because there was a white couple that adopted 5 African American children and had them locked up and had them like chained up and things like that.
Mm.
So sometimes that mentality is still here, it's still alive. You might not see it where you at, depending on where you at, but it's there.
Oh
It's
no,
bubbling.
we're seeing it more so now with this administration. They're bolder.
Yeah, they're been
It's been there.
emboldened.
It's been
Hmm.
there, but it's bolder now than it's ever been. And that's the sad part about it.
And there's a documentary that I have seen about the like the KKK, that
Hmm.
instead of making themselves like big crowds, and they wanted to educate themselves and put themselves in position of power. This is a documentary I seen a minute ago, and they were talking about the 80s and 70s and the upcoming 90s, like and
Right.
that's
And those are the people that we're dealing with right now.
and
Uh,
that's yeah, they're in
It's
I
power.
mean, again,
hmm
let's just go back to what I said. And if you trace their family trees, you'll find out that I'm almost positive that these are descendants of those original people that wanted to keep people in bondage, right?
right.
And now, here we are in, the 21st century, and they've educated themselves, you know what I'm saying? And now they've gotten themselves in a position of power. They become, city council and mayors and, congressmen and senators and all this other kind of stuff, to where
Right.
they're now in a
Governors.
position of power.
They wear hoods.
This is why they
Hmm.
were able to come up with Project 2025,
Right.
Hmm.
That they
because they had
denied was even existed.
right, because they had all of these people in position to where they really thought they was going to be able to implement, and they still trying.
Oh yeah,
Hell,
they
they
are.
definitely still trying. But again, it ain't going down the way they think it is. It's
No.
just like when we talk about these protests. He wants to deny that these protests are spreading throughout the country. Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, again, people are protesting across the country right now because of these ice raids. You know what I'm saying? What did we hear them say yesterday? They're going to be everywhere he ain't.
Right.
Okay. They said now as far as the No King's Day, right? That's a nationwide protest that's going on in over 1,800 different locations across the country. But I did hear yesterday, regardless of what he thinks, there are at least 6 to 8 different organizations that have filed for permits to protest in Washington on the
Mm.
14th.
Oh wow. That's
I'm
Okay.
good.
all for it. I've been like, hey, we
Yeah.
need to show up there, a million man march, because until they see, oh my God, people are getting like that, they might pull back, and they feel like they always state the country voted for us. That's what they're getting, the plan that they wanted us to do. No,
Right.
you're taking it way too far. You lied about what you were doing. This right wing alternative news sphere that they got going with Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and all these people, they threw Trump a softball when he went through that circle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a documentary about the young mega supporters that are like into like the MMA sphere, and how Dana White and Dana White is all behind Trump, and Trump is behind Dana White because the youngsters and all that and the reach they have, and Dana White actually has a monopoly within that sport, and as long as he's good with the big guy, he ain't gonna get no monopoly or won't get broken down because they have something going. They trying to make Trump look like he's an alpha. They're trying to make even Elon Musk look like an alpha. And Elon Musk, what was it? A tech nerd, a tech bro. That's what he is. What
Mm-hmm.
is Trump? A silver spoon fed person, never been through hardship.
Golden
Gold
spoon.
spoon.
He don't do silver. He only does
Mm-mm.
gold.
Gold.
Oh, yeah, gold plate or whatever he wants to say it is. You know what I mean? He ain't. And I think that's what he wants from his skin too. And he's trying to get to gold, but he just keeps missing.
Well, somebody need to show him a different color palette because orange is nowhere
Yeah.
near gold. So, uh, but again, I mean, this stuff is crazy, man. I mean, again, he's going to be protested. I mean, I wish that all of these folks that are getting ready to protest this weekend. I wish somebody had their. Oh, that's something else. They're now blaming these people, such as these No King Day protest organizers. They're now trying to find an angle to where they can come after them for providing logistics to these folks that are disrupting.
Yeah, and you know what this can cause, and something that the right wing, like the leadership and the politicians, ain't may be looking the blowback of all this. For example, let's say a Democratic president gets in, right? You saw how
Mm-hmm.
far Trump went with the line, and he saw how far they can go. The next Democratic president can go that far as well, but more on the left. So they're kind of hurting themselves by pressing the line so far. There was an understanding. It was not written, but in government there's an understanding that there's equal parts of the government, like it's equal. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I guess Trump, he's just a businessman. He believes he should be the CEO for everything and do what I want, and that's it, like a
Right.
straight up, you know, king, like North Korea.
Right. Well, again, I'm looking at. I seen something last night on CNN. Also, they came after Gavin. Right. They've actually had an issue with Gavin Newsom since the '90s. Okay.
Mm.
And bottom line, but they came at him with both barrels. And Gavin Newsom is actually he's moving up in the polls because he's not buying into Trump's boo boo. He's standing up against Trump. Every time Trump's people post garbage about him or his administration, I mean that they've even brought his family into it now.
He shoots back.
Wow.
He's
He's done.
right. He's right on them. He's immediately. He don't. They his team is not letting any time get between. I
And
mean,
that's
it's like
good.
he's literally got a team sitting there watching everything that Trump and his people are doing, and then they immediately respond with the facts
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
truth.
It needs
You
to be
know,
done like that, and that's what's kind of missing. If you look at Trump and the sphere that he's kind of in, and the way they push out media, you see how Trump goes, boom, here's a post, here's another post, here's another post, and you have even the people around him doing that, even like the alternate media, even Fox News. they have learned something that some of the Democratic leadership has not learned. And I guess Gavin Newsom's team, he has a good team behind him because they're firing back. They keep getting on the news
Well, not only
everywhere,
As they
that,
should.
on social media as well.
he's also right now. He is number one in all the potential presidential candidates for 2026, 2028, whatever
Man,
it
I
is.
want AOC.
Okay.
I ain't gonna
That's
lie
Yeah,
to
what's
you.
up.
yeah, 2028. That's what it is. But bottom line, and don't get me wrong, is Gavin perfect? No, he's not. Okay, but again, he's not going to bow down, and that's what is making him poll the way he's polling, because he's not bowing
Bowing
down.
down,
He's
yeah.
standing
Right.
up to him, and
Right.
that's what the American people want. 87%, okay, are approving of the way Gavin Newsom is coming back after Trump. That's a dangerous number for Trump. It's
That is.
really a bad number. So, but anyway, let's move on into this next one. Run these promos, Cabello. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS game night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
I know it sounds strong. Yeah. Showstar, it's 21st, and we're setting it off. Blind United's popping with that handmade sauce. Necklaces, bracelets, jewels that gleam, mosaics and pastries like a sweet dream. Made by the people, I love no cap. Supporting our artists, now that's a wrap. Step to the fair, yeah, roll through the door. Blind United's got what you're looking for. Crafts, good vibes, and a whole lot of heart. This ain't just shopping, this here is art. Step to the fair, yeah, roll through the door. Blind United's got what you're looking for. Cookies, candles, and that custom bling. Supporting small makers doing their thing. Real talk, every item's got a soul. So grab your folks and let's hit that go. From the blind to the bold, from the hands to the heat. Every booth got a story, every table a beat. Come early, come ready, show love, don't play. We're building a vibe that won't fade away. So tune and pull up, it's the coffee time way. Craft fair on the 21st, don't delay. We doing it live, Blind United on the rise. Come catch that spark and support with pride.
All right. It's coming up, y'all. We got right about 10, 11 days right now, somewhere in there at the most. Get yourself together, get your stack them chips up, and come on out and show your love and support what we're trying to do out here. We've got a lot of good stuff going on for you, a lot of jewelry, a lot of just handcrafted stuff, mosaic stuff, artwork, jewelry boxes, whatever. It's even old Pedro over there, they're going to have some Mexican wedding cookies and some hand sanitizers and all kind of stuff. So, again, come on out, show your love, support what we're doing. 21st starts at 10 o'clock, and it's going to run through till 3 o'clock. So come on out and hang out with us and pick up a few items. So anyway, this one is crazy. I mean, I know you guys have heard that, Trump is trying to do away with FEMA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that FEMA is only going to be allowed to operate throughout this hurricane season, but yet he's already defunded them to the point to where they're going to be totally ineffective. But I want y'all to pay attention to what is being said in this article. Go ahead and run it, Pedro.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab another cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this final article. In what could be one of the most significant restructurings of government responsibility in decades, President Donald Trump announced on Tuesday his intention to phase out the Federal Emergency Management Agency, better known as FEMA Point One. The proposal, if enacted, would fundamentally change how the nation prepares for and responds to natural disasters. During a briefing in the Oval Office, the president explained that after the current hurricane season concludes, his administration would begin the process of dismantling the agency Point Two under this new plan. The federal government would distribute significantly less aid for disaster recovery. Point Three. What limited funding is provided would come directly from the president's office, bypassing the established FEMA framework. The core of the idea, as President Trump stated, is to wean off of FEMA, and we want to bring it down to the state level. The president justified this dramatic move by placing the responsibility squarely on the shoulders of state governors. He told reporters a governor should be able to handle it, and frankly, if they can't handle it, the aftermath, then maybe they shouldn't be governor. This announcement, however, comes at a time when FEMA is already reportedly struggling due to hiring freezes and funding cuts, leaving the agency understaffed as the hurricane season begins. Point 4. The reaction from emergency management experts has been one of deep concern. According to both federal and state emergency managers, the vast majority of states simply do not have the budget, specialized equipment, or personnel to handle a catastrophic disaster like a major hurricane, an earthquake, or widespread wildfires on their own. They argue that FEMA's primary role is critical precisely because it can mobilize a massive, coordinated national response that no single state could hope to replicate. For citizens, especially those in vulnerable communities such as the elderly, low-income households, and people with disabilities, FEMA often serves as the primary lifeline after a disaster. The agency coordinates everything from temporary housing to emergency food and water. Point 5. Dismantling it could leave millions of people without a safety net during the most desperate times. For the blind community, which relies on established federal systems for accessible information and emergency services, this shift could create immense uncertainty and risk. This proposal sparks a fundamental debate about the role of the federal government in times of crisis. Is it a bold move towards state accountability or a dangerous dismantling of a critical national safety net? What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear them. Let us know in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
So I'm going to say it this way first. Number one, the FEMA was created, the Federal Emergency Management Association was created because there was a need. Okay? No state has enough resources to deal with this on their own. They need a federal organization. I mean, thinking about it this way, each and every state in our country, we pay in to the federal system. Okay, so now that's taking money out of our state and sending it to the feds, right? But because the feds are now accumulating money from all 50 states, they got the money to do this. Now you want to shift it back to the states? And what I'm talking about when I was saying pay attention to what he said in the article, he's doing away with FEMA because he wants people to have to come directly to him. He wants people to come to him and beg for help. That's what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying. And he doesn't even realize the majority of the states that he's hurting are red states. They're the ones that don't have enough money to they don't even pay in hardly anything. Like Kentucky gets more from the federal government than they give to the federal government. Okay, then you look at when we talk about how states are they're not available or able, to handle their own issues. Look at California. We have the 5th largest GDP in the world. Okay, not in the country, but in the world. And we can't deal with the wildfires. We can't deal with the resources from that we need for these wildfires. Why? Because we're sending our money to the federal government. That's why. We're sending our money to the federal government to take care of these types of programs. Okay, so I mean, again, this is all just really, really stupid. It's another power play. He wants people to bow down to him and beg him for, every morsel of bread they get. I mean, and it's sad. Somebody, let me shut up before I get
I
flagged.
mean, it's
Have Secret
stupid.
Service showing up at my house.
Let's hope not, Ed. Let's hope not. But it is sad that, now the governors are going to have to beg him for help in a catastrophe situation. uh, Organizations are already being cut left and right. And everybody is trying to just squeeze pennies together to make a nickel. And here it is, you want the nickel. It's stupid. How it's just amazing. Each and every day, something new with this guy to where everyone that voted for him, they were so gung-ho and excited. And man, everybody's minds are changing, but it's too late now. He is in there, and we have to deal with this, y'all, for a moment. And it's definitely going to get a whole lot
Mhm.
worse, and it gets better. That's the sad part. And it ain't nothing we can do about it. But
Mhm. Mhm.
protesting will definitely help. Do not have the fear in your heart to hide, because that's what he's trying to get you to do. Get out there and represent in volumes and show him we don't like what you're doing, man. Stop
Mhm.
it.
Well,
And
just,
it's
just
mhm.
right quick, Pedro. I'm sorry. I just want to make a quick point to show how incompetent he is. He put somebody in charge of FEMA that did not even realize that we have a hurricane season.
That's right.
I don't even work for FEMA, and I know that. Hey, he's showing us in real time why his casinos failed, why his university failed. He's
Mm,
showing us in real time because look, oh, I like the dude. He looks good. He looks great. He looks beautiful. I'm gonna put him in office. That's all he
mm.
goes by. And look, Ed was correct. It seems that he's out to screw all the red states. Everything he's doing is affecting the red states the most.
More than anybody else.
More. And
Wow.
and another thing is he wants to get away from FEMA because he wants people to beg him. Plus, he doesn't want to fund them because he wants to what? Give that tax cut. That tax cut to the billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Well,
about
not
the money.
not only that, it's a way for him to use it as a quick pro quo. Okay, I'll send you the help you need if you do XYZ.
Right. Right.
You
Catch
know,
them with their arms tied up, and I can free your arms if you allow me
as
to
an
put this in
example, I
your
don't know if you
hands.
guys seen this right quick. Remember them people that during the campaign that he called them out by name in the when he was down in Georgia that got it appointed to the Georgia election board.
Mm-mm.
No, I
Okay,
don't remember that one.
well, he was calling these people out by name at their rally, right? Because they had just got appointed to the Georgia election board,
Okay.
and
Mm,
they stepped in there and they were doing everything they could to prolong how long it takes to do this. I'm talking about literally hand counting ballots. Okay, different little rules that
Mm.
if you forgot to put a dot above the I in your name, your ballot could be excluded. All
mm,
of different kind of things, right?
mm.
You're missing your middle name. You're missing
Whatever.
one digit, one date wrong. Uh,
What
uh, um,
all of that. But
crooked
Right.
signature, or you went under the line, like little
okay,
stuff like that. Like blind people. Whoa, I ain't gonna lie. I
well,
went to vote. They did have a signature card, but sometimes people be like, no, I got it, and
so
Right.
the Chief Justice of the Georgia State Supreme Court just wiped all that out.
Mm.
mm,
Okay.
Just wiped all of that stuff they just put in there. Lawsuits were filed, and the Georgia
hmm
Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in Georgia, there, he just did away with all of that. So all that stuff is gone. Now we can hopefully have a free and fair election in Georgia again. So
Right.
anyway,
So imagine, man, just imagine the government didn't have the court system or nothing. It was just like a business. It would have been failing and hitting the ground already, guys. We have some type of protection, but that dude is pushing the line.
oh
Mm.
yeah.
It's,
And I brought that up because that's my whole point. So now he can come at Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, all of these different countries that really, Florida, that all always get really hit hard with these hurricanes, right?
Hurricanes.
Now
Mm-hmm.
he can come in there and say, okay, well, I'll send you the money you need, but I need you to change your voting laws,
Mm. Mm-mm.
whatever, XYZ. And then now he's going to get what he wants in order to give them what they got to have.
And
You
that's
know,
awful. That's
it's,
terrible.
it's sad. He is truly, truly trying to do exactly what he said in his campaign when he was down there in Florida talking to all them senior citizens. If y'all just vote for me just one more time, I promise you'll never have to vote again.
Hmm.
That's what he's trying to do. Trust and believe. That is exactly what he's trying to do. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to be an autocrat.
yeah.
He wants to do away with all of that. He does not believe
But
that he is ever going to have to leave office until they carry him out of there in a casket. And then I guess we're supposed to have some sort of a big old going away ceremony in
yeah.
the Rose Garden or some shit. I don't know,
Look, within that plan, who the hell is he gonna appoint next? Don Jr.
Mm.
Who is he gonna appoint? Oh my God!
right.
No.
Just to
I
think
Please,
mean,
about
please
who
not.
he's gonna
so we
put.
got to
Like,
go down through the succession of his eldest children and work our way down the way. I mean, I
I don't
don't know.
know.
It's crazy. This dude is out of control. We got to
He's
do
too
what we
old.
got to do. We got to do what we got. I mean, again, Saturday he'll be 79 years old.
Maybe
70,
he's got a little dementia going on or
He does.
something. You
no,
know.
he does have dementia going
Yeah,
on.
he
He
does.
does have it going on.
There's been videos, and they clip them even in Fox News. They complain about editing and ABC in 60 seconds. You should see the interviews they edit and the way they edit these interviews in the liking of Trump and stuff. But man, that dude look. He walks off the wrong stage way sometimes, and they have to tell him come this way. And that happened to Biden too. I ain't gonna lie.
Right,
Biden
right.
was
I was
old,
gonna say,
but
you
it's
know,
happening to Trump
he
too.
talked about Biden forever about it, but oof.
But again, he does the same shit.
Yeah, he
Right.
doesn't. Yeah.
Like you said, they don't. Fox actually hates doing Donald live. Why? Because they don't get a chance to clean it up
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
when it's
But
live.
we need that transparency. We need to see
Yeah,
him in
and
action the way
yeah,
he truly
but the
is
thing, in
on a
Carol,
daily.
the thing is, Carol, the mega and the right wing is watching Fox News. So when he's live, sometimes they get off and then they start commentating because they notice
Right.
he's slurring,
They
and
got
they
Right.
don't
somebody
show
sitting
them
right
that.
there. They got somebody sitting there, the program director or what, a
Mhm.
producer of the news broadcast, whatever. They sitting right there with a button, and they cut him off, and they say, "Okay, go,
We'll
Go
start
to
be
some
back
camera
to
two
commentary,
this.
or
Yeah,
go
start
to camera
talking,
three. Right.
whatever." And then they'll wait until he might come back on straight, get his thoughts right, regroup himself,
yeah.
and then they'll bring
Hmm.
him back for a few more, and then they end up having to cut away again. So,
And then we see the regular because we're all over the place. We're getting our media, but there's a problem. You got people stuck on Fox News and the right wing media, only in that sphere and only stuck on that. We have Fox News is the #1 cable news show,
Mhm.
channel watched, and the audience is above 45 or 50, and that's in cable news. Period.
Wow.
yeah, I mean, again, he's out of control, y'all. Get involved with these protests. Let your voices be heard. I mean, like I said, for folks within our community,
Let's
don't run
everybody
out there.
send mail. Let's send it to the White House.
Right.
Let's say
I mean,
million letters to the White House.
I mean, again, we can't necessarily go out and participate in the protest the way everybody else does, simply because we can't see what's going on around us, and it could be a very, very dangerous situation
Yes.
for us.
Right, right.
But there's nothing to stop you from putting a letter together and sending it to the White House, sending it to your Congress, sending it to your senators, whatever the case may be.
Bombard them with letters.
You know,
bombard them.
I mean, again, just make them to where they don't have time to do anything.
Well,
I mean,
read
they just
your
when they
stuff.
come to work in the morning, they got bags and bags and bags of mail sitting in front of their door. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's the only way that we're going to do this. I mean, when they look up Saturday and they see in over 18 cities across the country, people are going to be protesting, okay, about this No Kings thing. You know what I'm saying? So, again, and not only that, he literally said it on broadcast TV that he literally threatened anybody that had the nerve to protest his parade. Let's see what happens with that.
Right. Let's see.
Let's see what happens with that. So, anyway, it is Thursday, y'all. Everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. You know, also, if you don't mind, help us out a little bit. Run back there and, you know, like, subscribe, follow, you know, share, comment, all of that different stuff that you can do. It doesn't take much to do it, but it really, really does help to get the word out. And, you know, on the work that we're doing here in Blind United and Coffee Time and trying to share this information with you folks. You know, I mean, we're staying, you know, with basically what's going on in the news right now, but trust and believe, as soon as something comes up that's, you know, specifically for our community, we'll definitely bring that to you as well. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to join Jesus Bautista tonight for Let's Talk Spanish. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow morning. Have a great day.